Welcome to EuroC Sucks, the weekly podcast where we review and critique the best and the worst fan-created original characters from the My Little Pony fandom. This show is unscripted and unfiltered, so moderate language will be used. As well, this show can be a little heavy on the critique at times. That being said, if you are easily offended, don't watch. If not, feel free to join us for this week's show. This is episode 45 for the 16th of January, 2015. This week is the Mummified and Commander show. This week we're going to be showing off new artists on the show. If they've been on the show, it's a no-go. But if they're new here, then they're here to view. My name is Mummified Thunderbirds.
Oh
I am the host and show manager. I am joined by
Commander Sparkle, assistant project manager, and oh my god, that was awful.
It feels good to be back.
Yeah. I never get a chance after I say my name to also state how disappointed I am with whatever your intro of the week is, because normally I have to wait for other people to talk, and then I just feel rude. But, now I have the time.
Art that we will look at are the art of the fan.
Are the art of the fan.
They are the fan art. So
got a lot of fan art when you were gone last week, Mummified.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to catch up on us.
So possible weapon of choice with the very Castlevania style outfit I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I don't know why. What brought that on?
At this point, me and Medi have also gotten one of the possible weapons of choice. Smooth is the only one who's not yet complete. Mine, it's like these little knife things that I'm like a ninja or something like that. I have these, I forget what exactly they're called, tantos, which are they're like I know there's three different sizes of the Japanese katana styled sword, and I think they're the shortest one. I forget exactly. I don't know weapons very well, but I have 4 of them, and I'm holding them in all 4 of my hooves, and I still wonder how walking and doing other stuff like that works while doing that, but that's just me.
Yeah. Then there's Rosie Posey, who's done her profile fan arts for us. It's super cute.
Yeah, they're cute.
And then we got Paris Sprite OCs and all that goodness. And then we have know the difference between a mummified Thunderbird and the mummified Thunderbirds. Because the difference will...
See, one of them is a loser, one of them is a bird.
One of them is a majestic beast of glorious wonder and beauty.
And one of them is mummified.
One of them has a mustache. It just tries.
I got a kick out of that. We got a really nice picture from Cat in the Clouds where it's you calling us all out on being lazy jerks.
I was just about to mention that one. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and we're just all sleeping. Luminesti Moraru. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name on DeviantArt because names are hard. Did a picture of me in socks and stuff like that, and it's super cute. I love it.
I really like this. Oh, and not just socks, dude.
Yeah, that's true. There's a corset. Is that a corset?
I was like, it's a corset.
I was like, is that a corset? I don't know, but I really like it. I mean, we got a decent amount of art this week, and Mummified had to go over a lot of art that we already had gone over, so we apologize, but we are not going to be able to get through everything. Smooth will only be, probably other than the ones that we specifically talked about, we'll probably only show the ones from this week on the screen, but yeah, there's fan art. We love it.
Yeah. So, so I would roll the die of fate.
As Mummified was saying, we kind of don't need to roll an actual die this week because, there's only 2 of us. So, like Smooth and I last week, we're flipping a coin. This time it's my Celestia and Luna coin that I got with the Nightmare Moon vinyl. Pretty cool. One side's gold, one side's silver. Anyways, I'm going to flip it, do the whole hand thing. You call which side you want,
okay,
and then you go first.
Well, clearly, since I'm the leader of everything, all that is glorious and wonderful, I need to be Celestia.
Okay.
So.
And it's Celestia.
So, I'll be going first this week. And unlike last week, where these two didn't know how to convey bad with cute, I'm actually able to do bad with ponies that have ponies by artists who have never been on the show before. If you also couldn't gather that from our intro, this week is, like I said, ponies by artists who have never been on the show. But anyway, like I said, I get to go first. The OC I brought to the party is Burnt Quill. She is a work in progress. That's not her species. It's just where this pony stands. I mean, there could be a species of work in progress ponies. I mean, that could be a thing. We should do an episode on work in progress ponies.
No, we don't have enough ponies to talk about.
You don't know that. You don't know because you just can't see them yet.
Oh my god.
Anyway, she actually is a bat pony. She is a writer who also works in a bookbinding store. She helps make books in between actually writing books, because apparently, though writing books may be her special talent, for some reason, it just doesn't pay enough, or so she's got to get a second job, I guess. I don't know. Her likes are writing, I mean, obviously, reading, sleeping, bats, fire, and sunsets. Which, I gotta say, if you're a bat pony and you don't like bats, that's kind of weird.
Well, we've run into bat ponies that don't like the night, so...
Well, that is true.
I feel like all bets are off.
She dislikes anything loud, rudeness, failure, and waking up. So, yeah.
I get you. Waking up is hard.
Right here, babe. I know.
Yeah, Mummified. Mummified's got a problem with waking up.
I like my sleep as much as possible.
Don't get me wrong. Anyways, back to the power.
So, like I was saying, what really drew me to let me explain actually a little bit more. Her talent is creating and writing books. She has a pet, which is a pied bat, which is super cute. If you Google a pied bat, they are super cute and fluffy and fuzzy. And since she likes bats, it only makes sense that she would have a pet bat. But, you know, it's weird. Anyway, she lives in Applewood, which I don't know if that's meant to be a pun of Hollywood.
I feel like that would be Ponywood.
Yeah, that would be like Ponywood. But there are towns called Applewood, so I don't know how many other wood puns you could necessarily make. Maybe it's not even supposed to be a pun. Maybe it is just a town in Equestria that just goes by the name Applewood, because that sounds like a normal name. That could just be another place.
Whoa, a name that's not a total pun?
I know, right? You're wasting potential here, people.
Get out.
She actually fears. She is very afraid of having her writing critiqued and tends to freak out whenever she submits a book to be published. So her positive characteristics is that she works hard and she's very loyal to her friends. She's open-minded and, you know, she's a very creative person, but she does get lazy at times. She can be very critical of herself, though. These are negative characteristics that she has. Feeling that her work isn't quite good enough. And she's pretty stubborn. And she actually tends to be very cynical. So I think I can relate to this pony a lot just because the things that I do, I find hard to take criticism on. But yet, I can be very critical about my own work and think that, no, this is not good, this is bad. Try my hardest to find a way to fix that. And then where I sit and I see other people doing stuff that they're not doing the best, or I know they're doing not to the best of their ability, I fucking rail on them. And I sometimes can't even comprehend why you're being bad or why you're sucking at this. But that's real to me, I guess. That's real, you know?
Yo.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So anyway, I like this pony mostly also because of the fact that it's color scheme. You know, we have a lot of cooler colored ponies or cooler color bat ponies on the show. I don't feel like we've had a lot of warm color bat ponies as well. right?
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, we generally have an association of bat ponies with the night, so we get a lot of cooler colors, lots of nice blues, cooler grays, and stuff like that. Gray, though, is something that can kind of go either way, depending on how you tint it, which I think that the gray works pretty well here, and definitely has a warm feel for the pony.
Yeah. It's super nice. So yeah, that's pretty much this character. What do you think about it, guys? I mean, Commander?
By guys, you mean me, because I'm the one who's going to be fucking schooling your ass today. No, but seriously, I definitely like the character so far, and what's been explained. I think it's always nice to see that she has this defined thing. It's for bat ponies. I see two different ways that people do bat ponies. They either do a bat pony that is a bat pony, and it either has to do with their talent or what they do has to do with being a bat pony or knight or something like that, or the fact that they don't like the knight, or it's a bat pony and just lives a normal life. And this one seemed to take that way. I feel that they developed a writer character pretty well, because I mean, I feel like we all know writers and stuff like that who are really scared to get critique on their work and other things like that. So it's realistic, and I like that Burnt Quill included both positive and negative characteristics to show that this character does have flaws and different things that she can grow and learn from, how sometimes critique is not only wanted but necessary for you to be able to improve and grow, but a lot of artists and writers and stuff need to learn this before they are able to really make it.
Yeah.
Sort of shying away from the information side of the character for now. Like I mentioned earlier, I like the colors because it presents a nice warm palette, which I feel. I mean, it's burnt quill and stuff like that, and it doesn't there's no technical thing with this character that would make you shout oh hey, this is this should be a warm character because of the fact that she works she likes books and writing and stuff like that. But I think that, and this is actually she is it does mention that she's a bit of a pyro, so I guess that does have to do with it. But I feel it always. And this is obviously one of those reading into it being stupid things, and I did this last week, but I feel a lot of warm characters and stuff like that have a lot of passion for something, and this character, obviously her passion is in writing, and I feel that having you get that sort of I'm trying to think of the exact word for characters who just eager characters who just want to get out there and do things, but there's also that reservedness of this character, which I feel is a little bit harder to see with the aesthetics, but it's hard to get across conflicting themes. My point is that people are complex, and I'm reading into things. But yeah. Continuing on the aesthetics though, I'm not sure how I feel about the exact design of the mane and tail. I think having a messy mane can work, and they seem to have it somewhat it's a messy mane, but they have how it works. It has a set way it is, which is really interesting. I personally think that just there's a few of the little tiny parts where it makes little tiny swoops, you might just get rid of those just for simplicity's sake, because while some people try to do that to help symbolize their own messy hair or something like that, it's a lot harder to get that across with a pony without it just seeming half-assed, to put it very bluntly. I'm not saying that's what it looks like, but that's how some people may think of it, and that's why I feel having the very long swoops and having it be very defined, that it's one thing that works with a lot of characters. And then I would say switch over closer to how you did the tail, where it's just these few different swoops, and just simplify it down a little bit. But I also think the tail needs a little bit of work. I don't know, it's hard.
I love what they did with the mate. I love that. I love that, like you said, I was looking at it, I'm like, this is a very messy style, especially since the fact that you've got the two little bits coming down in front of the face. I just wish that it was a little bit more expressed a little bit more in the tail.
Yeah, I feel like this is a case where maybe a middle ground would be a good idea, where you can slightly... I think that you can get across a messy style without having just, like... I don't know, maybe it's just me.
I don't know. I don't think you should do anything with it. I can understand reaching a compromise between the two, but the way that it is presented in this picture, I like too much how the mane is.
Okay. I mean, to each his own.
Yeah.
For the cutie mark, I like it because it has the ability of being pretty simple. While the paper and the scroll and quill could be thought of as a little cliche, I think it's fine. But I personally would simplify it. I don't know if there's a good way to not have the outlines on the parchment, just because of the way that it curves. But if you when looking at some of the other pictures where it does have the cutie mark on it, it has that feeling of, because it's just this one vector, especially with it just being this one vector that is placed on other things, it just feels like it's, as Medi describes it a lot, a sticker. So if you can get rid of those outlines or make them less pronounced, that would help. And then also with the feather on the parchment, I'm not a huge fan of the gradient, but I would be willing to let the gradient pass if you take off all of the inner workings of the feather and just simplify it, because we would understand that it's a feather. I feel like that should just be implied, and you don't need to have all the different lines. It just adds too much complexity, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I think if you're trying to go for more of a show style cutie mark, I don't think that's the way to go. Cutie mark strokes and whatnot are very wide lined things, and that's something I'm noticing. If you just look at scroll cutie marks, it's very, when you have it, they're how it looks here is the fact that the scroll or parchment that is sort of flopped over, that looks like a stroke you would find in just a regular image. It looks very just, hey, here's a picture of a piece of paper, here's a picture of a quill. That's great and all. But when it's supposed to be thought of as a smaller image, using a larger stroke for them will make it look a lot more like a cutie mark. Cutie marks have very thick strokes, like I said, but also, I don't know, I think it's just, that's my main one thing with it. Also, try not to do necessarily a black outline on it. Try to make that black a little bit more red on the quill.
Yeah, I can agree with it. I don't think it's quite black, but it's hard to tell at this point.
Yeah,
it looks like just a darker gray. But I would agree to maybe make it a little bit more red, maybe lighten it up a little bit. But aside from that, I think it's a pretty good pony, and I like the majority of what's been going on here. And I think it's a character that the character herself, not the creation of the character, is a character that could go through improvement, which I like. So unrefined.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, let us refresh into a new pony.
Whoa! This time it's my pony.
Wait, should we flip for that?
Shut up.
Shut up.
But for this week, I decided to bring Rainfall by the Otaku of Wisdom. This character, I'm going to preface this, it lives in a semi-AU, so it's an alternate universe, but it's not, too altered, so that it's totally, ridiculous. But Rainfall is a male, or a stallion. It was a little bit hard for me to tell at first, but he is a stallion, Pegasus, and he lives in mostly sort of secluded areas, where because of the fact that he loves the rain, and weather ponies will he likes to go where the weather ponies sort of avoid, so that he can just use his ability to actually interact with the weather to make it just rain all the time where he is. But he doesn't like storms. He just likes it raining. And then when his left wing is apparently a bit weaker than his right, but he doesn't really like flying too much, so it doesn't really impede him. One thing that he's sort of he doesn't like or he's sensitive about himself is the fact that he has heterochromia, which more of those heterochromia ponies. Was that what you were looking at?
Nope. That was a point that I was going to talk about once you were done.
Okay, but he tries to hide them because most people, including himself, think it's sort of weird and unnatural, so he just hides it. He also hates when people joke about death because both of his parents died when he was a little bit younger in an accident where they were, I believe, there was a really violent storm and they got knocked unconscious and fell to their deaths, which is very tragic. And that actually caused him to develop a deathly fear of heights, which is the reason that he doesn't like flying, because he doesn't like heights. Which I think is very interesting development for Pegasus pony, because we've had some ponies where it's like, oh, they don't like flying because they don't like flying. For him, it's because of it's a traumatic sort of thing that gets brought up. Words are hard. Gets brought up in his mind whenever he happens to be flying. He also has a bit of anxiety and stuff, social anxiety, and he's always apologizing to ponies for everything. I know a few people like that. Anyways, he's generally reserved and try to breeze over the backstory. When he was a lot younger, he was raised by his parents, obviously, and they were both weather ponies. He was really reserved, and the only people who really were his friends to him even were his parents, which that sort of led him to a dependency on them. And upon the time when they died, as I mentioned earlier, he was sent to an orphanage, and he got picked on and physically and verbally abused, which just caused him to become even more reserved, go into a probably even more introverted state. And took after a lot of years of being in the orphanage, not getting adopted, he just eventually started to just believe the things that people said to him, how he was just basically a worthless, undeserving of being a Pegasus and having wings and stuff like that. And at one point in time, he actually tried to cut off his own wings, which there's a scar on the pony that shows that, but he eventually chickened out because it was not too painful and he just couldn't do it. Then apparently ironically he discovered that his talent was helping people solve problems and get over their fears, despite the fact that he can't get over his own. And then upon leaving the orphanage a little bit afterwards, he went out to become a therapist to help other ponies do what he can't do himself, which I think that is one of the things about this character. That was the thing that made me be like, I like this character, because there are so many times where it's you work around this own thing for yourself, but you know how to help others with it, which I think it's really interesting, and maybe it's just me, but do you have any words on the backstory and other stuff so far?
I like the fact that as I'm sitting here thinking about things you're talking about and things I'm actually noticing about the character are slowly being brought to life in the story. I was looking at it and I thought, heterochromia. All right, that's interesting. We've had a lot of things where that doesn't necessarily work, but the way you explained it about how this character is very shy about the fact, or is embarrassed, so to speak, about it, is interesting in that he tries to cover it up. Well, how do you cover up heterochromia? How do you hide that?
An eye patch.
Yeah, eye patch is perfectly fine, but that is some super curly hair.
I know, right?
It is. I really like how it is done. It is super
so
nice.
So poofy. I love the mane.
Also,
and tail.
So I find it the one thing that most stuck out for me was the scar. I really thought that was an interesting thing, and I'm like, that. This isn't. I saw it. I'm like, that's a thing. That's an intentional thing. This isn't they may have messed up here. This is just a weird texture. No, that that is something that the artist put there for a reason. And I'm like, that...
And did you notice before I started talking about it?
Yeah, that was actually what I was originally looking at. When you said, are you noticing the heterochromia? And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm looking at. What I was looking at was a scar. And I'm like, is that meant to be there? And I'm like, no, that is intentional. That is something there. And I was sitting there wondering, I'm like, okay, is it a scar? Is it a birthmark? I don't know what it is. And then you're like, he tried to cut off his own wings. And I'm like, that's
yeah.
I'm like, okay,
yeah.
I get this now. And this character has a lot of issues that is brought up. This is definitely a very sad character. But not to say that it doesn't have its silver linings. It's very...
It actually has gray linings.
You're so funny. You should write all my intros.
I should.
Anyway, and I'm just like, that's really interesting. Wow, that really is fucked up. But then the actual positive side of this is that ironic cutie mark, which I thought to myself, how do you have an ironic cutie mark? And it'd just be like, what is it, a flannel shirt with a cat print on it or something? I don't know. But, or like thick rimmed glasses or some shit like that. I don't know. But then it's like, no, it's a cutie mark that means blah, blah, blah. He's good at helping other people, but he can't help himself, which I find also is very interesting because there are a lot of people out there in the world who can pinpoint exactly what is wrong with somebody or ways that they can fix their own lives, but have hard times looking like introspectively upon their own lives and finding ways to get over or through or around things in their own life. This character obviously plays to that fact because though the character helps out a lot with other people, he has so many things in his own life. His parents dying, his fear of heights, his embarrassment about his heterochromia. I think there's a lot there that gives this character a lot of weight and substance.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. I'll let you continue talking about whatever.
I guess since I've talked on the actual story, which I think this is a really well-developed character, and like you can continue to get things from it the more you think about it and the more you look at it.
Shit plugs into itself.
Yeah, because it's well crafted and seems like it's it's a real like manifestation of these ideas done well. But moving on to the aesthetics, I really love like how the character looks. I don't remember whether Smooth hates or loves blue and gray, but I personally think that the blue and gray here work really well together.
Considering his favorite pony ever is blue and gray.
Yeah. But one thing with the colors that is I'm not sure how I feel is in regards to the heterochromia. I can't tell if that's meant to be yellow or orange. It's a little bit hard to tell from here. But that color, it really, from this perspective and the shading and other stuff like that. But with the other eye color, it is distinctly different than the coat. It has a little bit more saturation to it, but it's since it is still that blue, it's sort of blends in almost with it. I don't know whether I'm about that or I absolutely love it. It's one or the other.
I think the yellow is meant to be the same color as the little things in the hair, just because if you look at the color of the yellow things while it's in shadows of the hair or lines or whatever, it seems to be the exact same color as the eye in the shadow.
So debate about that.
It would lead me to believe that the eye color of the one yellow eye would be the same as the accessories in the hair.
I'd say it's a little bit more saturated, but
oh well, then that would then draw parallels between the difference in the saturation in the eye and the coat then as well.
That's true.
Aha.
That's true.
Aha!
Good call.
Oh.
Though it's hard to exactly tell because this isn't like a reference guide. It's just a picture. Yeah. Which the one problem I have with this picture or with the whole thing being presented is that I don't know what his cutie mark looks like.
Oh.
only thing
Well,
that I don't know, because I mean, I don't know whether the artist just couldn't think of it at the time and had all this stuff ready, but and that is okay, because I mean, cutie marks are hard to design, as I feel we here know.
cutie marks are easy.
Shut up. They're not easy. I will have you know that.
Hey, I knew exactly what the cutie mark on my pony was going to be.
Yeah, and yours sucks.
That's right. I keep forgetting that fact.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I love you, Mummified. But that's the only thing I really have to complain about this character's, and near the end, I'm gonna try and see if I can think of any ideas for a cutie mark, but it's just really hard. I have trouble with it. I figure a lot of people do. Mummified, since he's the god of cutie marks over here, maybe he can figure out something.
Well, you see, I mean, the whole problem with this pony is the fact that it shows the dual nature of of its own lifestyle, being able to help ponies, but not able to help itself. So clearly, there needs to be some manifestation of introspection into the own pony's life. So maybe showing ponies rising to the top, or maybe flying off into the sky, or reaching ahead while he himself is backing down below and still rooted in the trauma of his past, or something like that. Or, you know, it could just be the same fucking couch that you can find in any psychiatrist's office.
Yeah, but that's boring.
Yeah, exactly. So it's either you take the boring, safe route, or you take the majestic, expressive cutie mark approach and be possibly skirting the line of way too fucking complicated. So it's one of those two things. So
yeah,
I vote for the couch.
I think maybe doing a variation on the couch would be a good idea, just because, I mean, you want something that maybe not people wouldn't be like, I immediately know what this person does with their life, but does get across, at least to some level, what they're talented at or what they like doing. Which I think that if you have some form of that, and you can do some variations on it, do a couple sketches, that'd be a good idea. I mean, I'm trying to think of what else to say. I mean, I love I think I mentioned this really briefly earlier. I love the mane and tail here. I love the color, and I think the style with having the black outline, and then also having the outline that would be closer, probably the actual outline. I think that's really, like, I think it's smart. I think it's really cool. Maybe they might be a little bit dark for if it was the actual outline, but I still think it's a really cool style. But I just love how both the mane and tail just have this really long, poofy, like, they're oh my god, they're like storm clouds.
Yeah. To symbolize the storm that's in his mind.
And the fact that he also like explicitly likes rain clouds and rain and other things like that.
Thunder.
Oh my! Like when I made that connection of like storm clouds, I was like, oh my god!
And then the freaking yellow accents could act as the lightning coloring that could technically be coming out of him.
But he doesn't like storms.
He doesn't. He doesn't like storms, but he likes heavy rain. Even though that was a terrible game.
But I really like this, and god, I love the mane and tail even more now. I was gushing, and now I'm gushing more. I really like this pony. I think that there's a lot of depth to the character, and I would like to know more about this character or see a full reference sheet. Really want to see the cutie mark. Love the design. Super great. I love it. Gushing.